everybody? Welcome to the TraderMerlin Show. It is your Monday edition. Joachim, hell in Texas. Hat was a hello? The keyboard's giving you trouble today, huh, Joachim? Good to see everybody here today. Again, happy Monday. I'm going to try to do a kind of an open Q&A show today. I didn't have enough time to really prepare a specific topic, so I'm like, all right, I'll go through the mailbag and look through that, find some questions. If you have specific questions that you have, you guys know the rules. Type them in the chat. If they're directed at me, give me 3 little question marks before, or a couple question marks before your question, just so I know it's directed specifically at me. They now are on the second floor of the construction next door, so I apologize if it gets really loud, but hopefully we'll be kind of quiet over there, at least for the next half hour to hour. Okay, so when we look at today's markets, again, I'm going to do an open Q&A. Well, this is 22nd of May. Yep, 22nd of May. Not a lot of really exciting action there for today's market, in my opinion. What I think really is driving this all is the expectations of what's going to happen with regards to rates going forward. So if you saw Bullard of the FOMC making some not bullish, but making some comments on the potential rate increases for our next meeting, which is going to happen in a couple of weeks. That, I think, has people kind of questioning what on earth is going on. What I mean by that is let's go look at the Fed funds futures, because it jumped today, the probability of a Fed rate increase. Go there, go to my FOMC countdown. Bullard basically said he expects to see 2 more rate increases by the end of the year. So just to put that into perspective, he's one of those voting members. Well, right now, you have an 80% chance of there being a 25 basis point, you have a 80% chance of nothing happening, no change on June 14th. And right now, a 20% chance of there being a 25 basis point increase. So that's the gist of the story, which has been slowly dropping over the past month. What I want to do is, since we're currently sitting at 5 to 5.25, let's just go and click by the end of the year. This is the December 13th meeting, which of course would be 5 more meetings of the FOMC before the end of the year. And you can see right now, if Bullard is thinking 2 more increases, he's only representing this 2% probability over here. So not a lot of, weight being put on what Bullard was saying, but now it has people kind of questioning, well, if Bullard is in this phase of kind of somewhat hiking more, then how many other FOMC members are looking at lowering? You can see here right now there's a 39.4% chance that we will be 50 basis points lower by the end of the year. So right now it seems like a lot of confusion, and this really, this spectrum here, this broad spectrum of expectations really should, drive home that point. We have 14% are expecting a 75 basis point cut. 39% are saying 50 basis point cut. 32 are saying a 25 basis point cut. 11.7 saying we're stay right where we're at, and then 2.1% says something higher than that. So kind of kind of strange to see such a big disparity there between them all. And I agree with Big Eb. It says the Fed guys can't shut up. They like to talk. Look, bottom line is Bullard and any other Fed member, they want to put their name out there because they want to be in the circle that maybe they get to be the next chairman of the FCC or FEC. I can just not think today. It's that Monday. Chairman of the FOMC. And therefore, when they finally retire after they've chaired the FOMC for a window of time, they get to do speaking engagements and write books and make a ton of money that way. So to me, it's just all about, pumping themselves. Margaret says, a cut, really? I mean, let's put ourselves in the shoes of central bankers right now, Margaret, and everybody else here. So as Liz says, it's all over the place, and rightfully so, right? We don't know what the end of the year is going to hold, right? You remember when we did our forecast for the beginning of the year, mine was, I thought we'd see a bullish Q1. I thought we'd see a flat Q2. And then I thought the 3rd and 4th quarter of the year, we'd start to see things sell off. If that does happen, then yeah, we might actually get some rate cuts because the Fed's going to try to bail out the market. Oh, I'm sorry. Can't bail out the market. That's not their job, right? Stable prices and full employment is their job. So again, a ton of uncertainty with regards to what the end of the year is going to bring. If you ask this group here, how many are bullish, how many are bearish, you're going to get stuff all over the place. And it doesn't really matter whether you're bullish or bearish. In my mind, it's more important, what's your plan for it? What's your action items that you're going to take to capitalize on whichever way this market goes? I still stand by my January 1st call of a bearish 3rd and 4th quarter. I think largely due to the fact that these rate cuts or rate increases, are going to start hitting the bottom line of businesses. And I think that is going to be problematic going forward. So yeah, don't know. That's why we have such a big spread here, Margaret. A cut. If we start to go to hell in a handbasket from an economic perspective, then they're going to have to stop raising. And again, it puts them back in that conundrum of stagflation. Because if we do start to go and drop significantly in Q3 and Q4, what that means is that unemployment is going to start to shoot up, which is one of the big factors for stagflation. You're going to have inflation probably is going to start to come down, which is good, but it's still relatively high. And then GDP is going to start to slow down, another negative factor for our markets. And there's definitely a bunch of other pieces that could impact this. So yeah, there's certainly probably no change first and then a rate cut. Yeah, absolutely. I don't think there's a chance. With the current data, which is not atrociously bad, I think most likely you'll get a pause of the next meeting, wait for the data. If it still shows high inflation, then they'll raise another 25 basis points. But they'll pause at the next meeting. I'm pretty sure about that one. I've been wrong before, as many of you like to point out. So what else could happen? Well, there was a question that came through. I'm going to dive right into that one just because it segues nicely. We talked a lot about this on last week, right? The debt ceiling issue. So here is a question from Gene. Gene says, what happens if the debt ceiling is not raised? Well, nothing is set in stone. All we can do is go back to historical precedent and say, what happened in the previous times? For example, under Clinton, we had a 21-day closure in 95 to 96. Under Obama, we had a 16-day closure in 2013, and then under President Trump in 2018 and 19, we had the longest one ever, which is 35 days. Now, in all three of those, there's a standard cut, but they can be modified, right? The president can say, well, we don't want to cut that one. Let's keep that going. For example, Trump tried to keep the national parks open. Normally, parks and that type of service stuff, non-essential, gets shut down right away. So I did a little bit of research for you guys. Let's talk about what stays open first and then what disappears. So what stays open first and foremost? Well, emergency personnel. Thank goodness. I think we'd all agree that government goes into shutdown. I don't want all of a sudden my police and law enforcement and military just take a hike and now we're all of a sudden defenseless. That would be bad, okay? Active personnel, active duty military, federal law enforcement agents, doctors, nurses working in federal hospitals, and air traffic controllers. Let's keep those airplanes flying. All right, so that stays open. Members of Congress continue to be paid because their pay cannot be altered except by direct law. This, to me, is a bunch of bull-pucky garbage. You idiots can't vote on raising the debt ceiling or balancing a budget. You should be fired, period. Get Trump to say it. You're fired. Get rid of these bums if you can't make a deal and get along and figure out how to make this place better. This, to me, is crap that they get paid. Anyway, they will continue to get paid while other people lose their jobs or don't get paid because of the ineptitude of our elected officials. It would be interesting if we could set a precedent where you now can be elected, but if you go into a government shutdown, you don't get paid. Of course, we all know they're getting paid elsewhere. Lastly, another piece here that stays open, mail. Right? Because you got to get those bills so that you can pay your bills. Now, of course, there's a lot of other stuff there that stays open. I just kind of cherry picked and picked some of the higher level pieces. More importantly, into our discussion would be what gets cut. And the reason why I think this is so important is, and please don't take this as I'm cold and callous and a heartless individual, when I look at what gets cut, that translates into problems for businesses in specific areas. And if I can see that happening and maybe forecast that could go on a while, then those businesses will suffer and the share prices of those companies may start to take a dive as well. So I'm looking at this as, okay, how do I position my chess pieces for the opponent? The opponent here is the government in my mind. They're making their moves. How do I position myself to win? Period. It's not like I'm taking advantage of people. I'm taking advantage of an action created by government or government entities. So just making sure we clarify there so I don't seem so heartless. I'm a trader, which, makes me cold and callous in a way. But anyway, let's go to what gets closed. What is shut down? Number one, this one I thought was kind of interesting. At least half of the Department of Defense civilian workforce and the full-time dual status military technicians of the U.S. National Guard. Okay, so we lose some of our defense there. Okay, not the greatest, but that's some of that goes. Programs that are funded by laws other than annual appropriations acts, like Social Security may also be affected by the funding gap. So I'm sure Medicaid and Social Security will be fine for the time being, but there may be some other programs that get cut because of that. National parks, I put that one down there. And then I did a little bit of digging deeper to find out what might really be impacting us. I think this is huge. These ones here really get interesting for me, and I haven't heard anybody talk about this. The FHA stops approving applications for housing loans. So, of course, we're in a situation right now where rates are rising. A lot of people are trying to buy homes. FHA is a big factor in that. They will stop approving applications for housing loans. So right away, a huge driver of economic growth is real estate. People buying a home drives up the value and GDP, and all these factors gonna get better. Certainly the statistics do get better when people are buying homes. It's a sign of a robust economy. So if all of a sudden this major source of funding, FHA, ceases and says, sorry, you may be the most qualified person in the world, but we're shut down until they can get their act together in Congress and in the Capitol Hill. This to me is a pretty bad piece for, I think housing represents 14 or 15% of GDP. You start to put a little damper on the housing spending, that all of a sudden is going to hit the GDP number and not look as good. So we could see home prices start to fall here a little bit because people won't be qualifying for loans. Therefore, we don't have buyers to drive prices up. Now we get even further retracement in housing prices. So that one's real bad. And I got one more for you here, which I think is even worse. This is not going to impact Apple or Microsoft or Intel or Cisco. Federal loans to small businesses also get shut down. There will be no new approval for small business loans. So think of all the small little businesses that are relying on some government funding to get started, get their business off the ground. That's all going to cease. Now, again, that's not catastrophic. It's not like Intel are saying, hey, we got no more money coming in. The big companies will be fine. But this does kind of damage the entrepreneurial heart, which to me is what America is all about, is saying you have the opportunity to achieve your goals and your dreams. That's why we're here, right? This to me is fairly problematic and an ugly one here where you have federal loans and so small businesses get shut down. So I didn't like that last one. And then I'm not a germaphobe, but you guys tell me, how many of you appreciate and feel it's necessary to have an entity like the Food and Drug Administration going out to a pork packaging facility or a lettuce ranch to make sure that it's being done properly and they're not cutting corners, we don't get salmonella, or just the FDA going out there and doing routine checks on business to make sure they're staying up to snuff? How many of you think that's probably a good thing to keep open, right? The longer this goes on, the more likely we're going to see more and more cuts. So what could happen here is the FDA shuts down its food safety activities. Yeah, I thought that one was kind of weird. So all of a sudden, if we go to a government shutdown, the FDA will no longer be doing spot checks and checks to make sure the quality's, up to a certain level at some of these facilities. And that's kind of scary to think that, let's all assume that good businesses are good and they're going to do the best they can. But, some of them would be out there cutting corners. And that kind of scares me. So they would be, they're going to shut down their food safety activities. Oh boy. So let's hope that this doesn't go on very long. This is just the beginning of it. And again, I mentioned that we've had 3 of them before. We had one under Clinton for 21 days, one under Obama for 16 days, one under President Trump for 35 days. And of course, there were shutdowns there. One of the other questions that I got was, how many, I'll spend my taxes on that. Yeah, Patrick, wouldn't it be amazing? I think we would all vote for this. Is if it came every year we paid our taxes, there was a checklist or little boxes, and you could say, yes, I'd like it to go here. Yep, I could pinpoint where I want my tax dollars to go to. Wouldn't that be nice? Bring it on. I'm in. So, this is all stuff that gets shut down in that. And the longer it goes on, I think the more severe the impact. I'm not so freaked out about the National Guard. We got plenty of defense, and there's no imminent threat on our homeland. So I think we're okay there, although we'd like having the National Guard, of course. Thanks for all that you do. The funding gaps here, no big deal. National parks, I think we can all take a break and just, go to the beach or go somewhere where, it's not run by the national park system. That's fine. We can deal with that one. That's not life threatening. FHA stops approving home business loans and federal business loans. Whew, to me, that it gets really dangerous. right? Really dangerous to have that. That's a big chunk for economic growth right there, is having government money for businesses and housing loans. And then the last part, the FDA safety part. So just a little sketchy. I've always loved that idea. At least allow us to decide 50% of where the money goes. Boy, it would certainly make us feel more American. We're under this mystique that it's democracy and we have all this choice. And in many cases we do, but I look at especially the money that I pay for taxes every year and it's like, man, I don't like where it's going. Certainly I would not be checking the box that says pay my elected officials. Can I veto that one right away? That'd be in the mandatory column, unfortunately, Tomasino. So I think Tim, was that the gentleman who asked the question? Gene asked that initial question, what happens? And again, that is not 100%, right? That's just kind of what has happened in the past 3 events where the debt ceiling has not been raised, or at least there was a government shutdown until they ultimately kicked the can further down the road. So we'll have to wait and see how all that pans out. I don't know exactly how it's going to work. I have this feeling that they're not going to come to an agreement, that we're going to go into a shutdown. And then at a certain point, and this is where the complete unknown, like I have no idea when this will happen. But let's say, they say we're going to run out of money now next week. It was September. And then Janet Yellen says it's going to be June 1st. And all of a sudden they're saying it's going to be like this week, like the end of the week. So if we don't raise it, what'll happen is we'll go to a shutdown, right? So those entities that I just mentioned most likely will be cut or shut down. Some of those people who are furloughed, meaning they're let go, and they may get paid, they may not. That's up to the elected officials to say. Most likely they will get back pay, but we'll see how that all transpires. Then there will come a window of time, like how long this goes on, right? If we get to 30, 40, 50 days and there's no money there, at a certain point, the Treasury Department's going to have to say, okay, we have no money. Who do we pay, right? Who of our creditors do we pay? No longer do we cut our services internally, but who of our creditors do we pay? And that's when I think the real doo-doo will hit the fan. Fingers crossed that we don't get there. I think you'd all agree that would be a real bad thing for the U.S., although some think it might actually be good, right? Clean house and let's play hardball and get some of these things taken care of. Well, I think there's a more diplomatic way to do that and to get everybody on the same page working together. Unfortunately, it seems like one giant pissing match right now in Congress and Senate and all that stuff. Okay, so hopefully I answered that one question for you, Gene. I saw a question that came through earlier, so let me scroll back through there and see. That was from Tom. He said the markets fell over 10% in the 2011 and 2% in 2013 when the debt ceiling was raised. All the years there was no measurable impact, per my research assistant Bard. You love Bard. Yeah, I didn't look into that one. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough time today, but I really did want to look at that and say, okay, when did this officially start, right? Give me the day that we went into a government shutdown. And then what did the markets do then? I don't recall it being that dramatic. And again, a government shutdown to me is mild. That's no big deal. That's just a pause. The longer that goes on, obviously, the more significant it becomes, because you can imagine, you go 60 days, 90 days without government loans for small businesses. You go without inspections at, packaging facilities for food. I mean, very bad. So the longer it goes, the more dangerous it becomes. Then I think you'll really see the toll. Where will really be a problem, and where I think the proverbial doo-doo hits the fan, is when we get a moment, or if we get a moment, let's hope we don't get it, where we have to stop paying creditors. That is when things get really bad. And I don't want to see it. I hope it doesn't happen, but unfortunately, it's a real possibility. If we get downgraded by some of these rating agencies, then it starts to snowball. But let's hope we don't get to that point, because it'd be really stupid. If we get to a point where we default on our debt, we need to vote every single one of those people out of office. I don't care who you voted for, vote for someone different. We have to make a change if they can't come to an agreement on this stuff. It's unbelievable. Sorry, what's down? I'm a little late. The conversation. I'm talking government shutdown. Money is still pouring in. The problem is the $2 they spend for every $1 they get. Yeah, it's actually, I think, $2.13 or $2.15, Tom. That's a big problem. Got to come to some agreement there, right? It's sit down at a table and hash it out. Unfortunately, some people just toe too hard of a line. And, the thing is, you're not going to make that adjustment where I think you close that gap in one meeting, right? There's no way we're going to sit down with both sides, the Republicans and Democrats will sit down and say, okay, we're spending now $2.15 for every dollar we bring in. Let's get that down to 1-to-1. It's never going to happen. right? It's not going to happen. But what they could do is get down to 1.75 to 1. And then the next time they figure out a way to get down to 1.5 and then slowly get back down. But I don't think you're going to peel that Band-Aid off all at once and get back to 1 to 1. That would be pretty crazy cuts. Try not paying your credit card. Oh, that's easy. Creditors are going to come knock on your door. Go ahead, try not paying your credit card. You'll go into financial ruin, right? You go to your collectors come after you. Your credit score plummets. You can't get access to money. Yeah, it's bad for us, but good for governments. Let's see. I don't think that every time there is a government shutdown is due to debt ceiling issue. Is because we don't have the budget approved to pay for programming debts. The last 3 government shutdowns were because of the debt ceiling. That's the Clinton one, the Obama one, and the Trump one. Those were predominantly for budget issues. The Trump one was because of the border wall. That was a 35-day because of the border wall. The deficit is a bad thing. We increase the ceiling every time not to face a catastrophe now. So how do we fix without taking any harsh measures and reviewing our spending carefully? I think what needs to happen is there has to be some agreement saying, okay, we're now spending 2.15 for every one we bring in. We have to get that down to 2 by the next meeting, right? By the next quarter, next year. Let's set a timeline because I don't think it would be that challenging to do. I've been working with some friends and helping them improve their credit. And it's not like you're going to get your credit score from 600 to 800 in one sitting and just boom, I'm at 800. It's incremental. And you know that to get to that from 600 to 800 in your credit score, you take incremental steps. You make these changes and then you start to see the impact and it gets better. You make more changes. That's what needs to happen. Let's find the low-lying fruit, the fat that we can cut. And there's plenty of it out there. And we'll start to cut that. And then once we see the impact from that, things get better, we start to cut some more. But it's a slow process, really. I think it could take years to get there to we're actually into a very full functioning, effective business model run by the government. Right now, it's just a bankrupt model, no matter how you slice it. How do you mean we need a drug addict off it? Yeah, exactly. Totally. I mean, they are a drug addict that's addicted to their drug, and their drug is money. They got plenty of it. They can raise it anytime they want. Amazing. Real quick, let me just go to this question. And there were a couple that were sent in, and you guys let me know if you were interested in this topic. I was going to do a poll. Let me see. I'm going to do a poll here. Bear with me as I try to put up a poll. It's always so difficult for me to do these things all at once. So I'll start a poll. Are you interested in on credit? I can't type today, so I spelled management wrong. Apologize. I'm just going to send this one through to chat because this is the question that came in from, I forgot, maybe it was KF. I forgot who it was, but so can you please do a session on the ins and outs of credit? And I thought, why not do a session on credit management? All the different steps that go along with it. Because as John would say, credit is the mother's milk of capital. And by looking at credit and income and expenses and liabilities, and not just the credit that we take on, but understanding how to get better credit and simple things we can do to boost our credit score. I'm assuming most of you probably have pretty good credit, but there's some of you who probably don't, and there's some of you who may know somebody who needs to help improve their credit. So I thought I'd throw it out there as a poll just to see how we were looking here. I know we've got all kinds of broad topics that we cover on this show, and maybe I can expand further and go into that topic on credit. I personally think it would be a good one. I think it's very important, especially given the current situation that we're in. I think at this moment, if you have debt, and that debt is higher than the rate of inflation, you should be getting rid of it. So, got a mortgage you're paying 3%, keep it, right? It's under 5, fine. But if you got, car loans that are up 6, 7, 8%, pay those things down ASAP. Credit card loans, pay that down. All right. Merlin, where is the show with your credit card friend? Oh, you know what? I keep meaning to reach out to him. He's kind of traveling and flighty. I'll leave it at that. I will reach out to him today after the show. How about that? Yeah, I want to. That would be a good one. All right, so let me see what the poll said. I'm going to end that poll here. Only got 16 votes. Hold on. I got 61 people here. Do me a favor and click on that poll that just went through chat. How do I only have 16 votes? That's less than 20% of the people that are here. Come on. You can do better than that. Do we want a credit session or not? Totally off topic, but is there anyone making a crypto backed by gold? Yes, there is. It's called PAXG. There's several of them out there right now, but PAXG is one of them. So let me real quickly, while I wait for more people to click on that poll, get you guys active over there. Let's just look at PAXG, right? So PAXG. I want you to, no, that's not it. This is definitely not the one we're looking for. Let me go to my crypto list. So, one of the things that you guys are going to see here in the near future, much more of, is asset-backed digital assets. And the reason I think it's so important is right now, if you want to buy gold, you got to go to the exchanges, right? You got to go to, buy gold futures or buy GLD or maybe buy physical gold. We're going to start seeing asset-backed crypto assets much more commonly. And this is one of them. This is Paxos Gold. And basically what this is it's a digital ounce of gold. And apparently it's audited. It's in a warehouse. They store it. Now, I have not seen it nor been to the warehouse. So I think that's a little bit of a concern. But, you have basically here is a digital gold. I can now buy any small portion of this. It's trading, right now it's $19.83 is the price of PAXG. And let me real quickly just put over GLD on top of this, just so we can have, let's go, GLD, hit enter, and that should have, oh, great. Didn't do it. So let me go compare with gold. Okay. So you can see, these are pretty much spot on. They're lockstep. So you do have digital gold here. I think this is an interesting one that you could look at. But there's more of them out there, right? This is just gold, but you now have stable coins that you could buy a digital euro, digital dollar, digital pound, digital yen, digital Canadian dollar. There was a silver one, but that one has disappeared. The key with any of these, especially like a digital gold like PAXG, is to make sure that it is audited, right? It's easy to start something up and say, oh, it's backed by gold. Yeah, it's $1,982 per coin. There you go. Careful. Definitely do your research before you jump into anything. The gold is stored in a digital warehouse in a digital world. Yeah, exactly. That's the scary one. I met a guy years ago at a trade show in Las Vegas. And by the way, I will be doing a trade show in Las Vegas here soon. So I'm kind of excited about that. I'm going to be there August 9th and 10th. So if anybody happens to be in Las Vegas in the middle of the week, not exactly the best timing to Las Vegas, but I will be doing a presentation there real quick. I'm going to try to log in here and bring up the graphics, but I will do my best to promote that with regularity here. Got to promote my own services, I guess. So here is the visual to the presentation. Oh, look at that handsome lad there. There you go. They spelled my name right and everything. So I will be doing an investment master symposium in Las Vegas. So just an excuse for you guys to go to Las Vegas. I will be doing building a crypto portfolio to prepare for the future. So I will be running through portfolio construction. I'll share my portfolio and the justification, the logic as to why I built it that way, and just considerations for you. For those who are looking at crypto, I know some of you hate it. Others of you think it's amazing. Well, again, I think there's a happy medium here, and some of these crypto projects are fantastic. So anyway, I will be doing this in Las Vegas, August 8th through 10th. I'll see if I can find some discount for enrollment there, but there you go. Okay. Enough of my gratuitous marketing for myself. Yeah, it's fun. I love going to Vegas. It's great to do these shows. I wish it was on a weekend. You tend to get more attendance, but it's fun. All right, so here's the end results for the poll. As far as credit goes, 81 of you said yes, 18% said no. So I will do a show. Give me a week or so to build that out. I'll probably do it next week where I'll build it out because I really want to have a method to the madness and understand, these are the different steps you can take to really jack your credit score up. There's a couple little things that I've learned from credit experts that I'd never read anywhere else, and they're in the industry and say this can really help boost your credit score. So I would do that. That's right, Chris. Hey, Chris, come out to Vegas, man. I'll see you on a 8th, 9th. I'm speaking on the 9th. I'm the middle day. I'm pretty sure I'm the 9th. So I'll be there Tuesday and Wednesday night, and I leave on Thursday. But yeah, it's fun. The Money Show puts on a good show. This one's the Money Show, so it's much more broad. So you have oil investments and REITs and all kinds of alternative energy, stuff like that, and some digital assets ones. So I guess they were lacking in the digital assets, so I guess I'm picking up the slack. Dwight says, will you be recording your class? I'm not allowed to record anything because it's their event, but I'm pretty sure that they will have a recorded version. I hope they do. That's right, KF. Smash that like button. Let's get that like button going. So yeah, I'm pretty sure they will. And when you get closer, we're still, over a month away from it. When it gets closer, I'll let you know more about the details and everything. I think I'm doing like 1 o'clock. So I won't be doing a show those days either. Maybe I might try to stream something from there, but I'm not going to really have my broadcasting set up. It could be a little bit of a mess, but I just bought $200 for the Pepe coin. Hey, Patrick, that's a straight up gamble, right? And you guys remember the Hex coin I was telling you is a total scam? I think KF, you asked me about Hex coin, right? Check out Hex coin. The scam artist, man. Absolute scam artist. I can't stand Richard Hart, the guy that created Hex, but here it is down another 15% today. This was just the ultimate. He basically convinced a whole bunch of people to buy it, and now all of a sudden everyone's running for the exits on this piece of garbage Ponzi scheme coin. That's Hex. The only one that I would say is worse than that is Pepe. Here's Pepe versus Tether. This thing is a total scam. It literally says it's worth nothing. And you can tell by the price, it's pretty much nothing anyway. But yeah, you got $200 on it. Good luck. Yeah, there you go. Let's do an event in Vegas. The problem, Big Eb, is it's during the week, man. No one wants to take a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday off to go to Vegas. So, unfortunately. But I'll definitely be happy to catch up with you guys. Maybe we can set a meetup time if any of you decide to go, and we'll have some drinks somewhere. Why not? Would you please mind a question that I put in the comment of your last show? It's a little long, but I can't copy and paste it. Why does everybody do this to me? I always have to do the questions live. All right, let me see if I can find your question over here while we go. So I forgot the gentleman who asked the question, but we will do a session on credit. I'll leave that there for just a second while I bring up KF's question on my YouTube studio. And just bear with me as I bring up these questions live. Maybe we should create an OTA coin. Maybe. You know what? Oliver, don't get me started. I actually recommended that. I suggested it. I told them all the framework for it, and they still haven't done anything with it. So we'll just leave that all alone. Don't get me all riled up on that topic there. KF, I don't see comments from you on any page. Yeah, I don't see anything from you, KF. So I don't know if you just posted it, but I'm scrolling back. I don't have any comments. No, I don't see it. Anytime I see Hex or Pulse Chat on YouTube, I block them. Yeah, exactly. I know. They pay their money to get there. All right. Anyway, KF, I don't see your comment in here, so you have to send it over again. I just scrolled through all my comments, and maybe you mentioned me. Let me see real quick. Is there mention? No, that's other people mentioning my content. All right. So I did a couple questions. We had a question a week or so ago about Apple and someone asking where the next demand zone was. On Apple because they bought some puts. And we're like, man, you really sure? And that's kind of dangerous. KF, or Sly Dog, that's funny. He said, I'm waiting for the SS coin. That's called a shit coin, right? That's a coin that's worthless and worth nothing, just like the individual that would have created that if there was an SS coin. All right, let me go back to some charts here and just go to Apple. Right, so we had this mapped out, and for a couple of days, you did see Apple sell off, and I said, look, if it's going to really pull back here, my target's going to be down around that 164. I liked it at that moment in time because it was coming into this recent high, it goes back into August, right? Not bad. I thought, okay, if I have to take this, I would go with it. But we also had the discussion that day that, you're looking at a really strong uptrend this entire year. So if it does pull back, I said, I don't really expect it to pull back far. The way that the models of impulse and corrective phases work, I just didn't expect it to have a big pullback, and lo and behold, it didn't. So, I'm hoping that this individual got out of it with a little profit before it ripped up and probably stopped you out. I still think that this supply level, in my opinion, is intact. You notice the way it opened up today? It opened up real nice, and then basically sold off the remainder of this, or sorry, not yesterday, this is Friday, gapped up and then sold off the remainder of that day, and here we are selling off again. So I'm not sure if that individual got stopped out, but you're still looking at a beautiful uptrend on Apple. It just came into some overhead supply, and as you notice, there are several other supply zones. Let me switch this over to a weekly for a better analysis, right? There's several other supply zones looming up ahead that might be a challenge for this one as well. But anyway, I thought I would bring that one up because I remember someone asking me about the Apple there. A really small coin. Oh, that's a good one, Margaret. Oh, that's ouch. Boy. Yeah, okay, I've sent that one again. Ganesh, what's the time period you select for options selling and buying most of the time, and why so? When you sell, do you sell in margin, or do you the extent that you can hold if it's a sign? Great question. That's actually a very, very good question. So, for me, I guess I could use the example for silver, right? I told you that I had a bunch of silver, and I sold puts today, or sorry, I sold calls today, because I had puts. I sold puts on SLV. I was exercised on Friday, so I'm now long SLV. So all I did today is I sold calls against that position. And, you know, my exercise price was 22. So today, fortunately I did it earlier on in the day. I didn't get as much premium as I wanted, but I sold the $22 strike price. Let me just get here. Remember, I sold the 22 puts. Now I'm long. There we go. Long, which I'm down 33 cents per share, but I also collected some premium, so I'm actually in the money right now. I sold the $22 strike today, and I sold that expiring this Friday. So for 1 week, I ended up getting 23 cents worth of premium. So I'm going to make 1% rate of return on this for the week. Now, the thing that you know, if we evaluate this, and if I'm not making sense or if I'm confusing you guys, let me know in chat. Just type it in there that I'm confused. But I sold puts. I was now given the shares because it was below 22 bucks, and now I'm long technically at 22. I think I collected 35 cents worth of premium, so my average price is actually $21.65, right? So that's my average price, $21.65. But technically, I'm in the money. So now what I did, I could sell strikes at whatever price I wanted, but I just sold them at 22 just because I feel like we're actually going to have choppy week and maybe end right around 22 for the week. I could have sold the 23s up here, but the premium was really light. I wanted to do it for the week. I wanted to do short-term options here. So to answer Ganesh's question, typically, in this case, I'm violating my rule, but generally when I'm selling options as a seller of either puts or selling calls, it's 30 days or less, right? I don't want to give the buyer of that option time. Now, the more time I give them, the more premium I get, but I would rather, let me rephrase that. You guys can imagine here, so I sold the call option against my position today, which expires right here. Now, I would ask you guys, but there's that stupid delay here. If I sold those options, and how bad? Oh, I'm sorry, I'm on the wrong screen. Sorry, everybody. There you go. Wrong one. If I sold those options, how much damage do you think I'm going to take? Right? It's at 21.67 today. You know, do you think this is going to fall to 20 bucks or 19 or $10 by that blue line? Probably not. I'm giving it a lot less time to move. Now, if I sold 30-day options on this one, that would go back to, let me bring up the vertical line. That would take me out to some point in June, I think June 16th. Yeah, no, let's see. That's the first Friday. No, oh man, that's tough. Real quick, let me look at the calendar here because I don't remember the days. I did not choose an alternative to Ledger yet, but I did not, not yet, Big Eb. So let's see, third Friday is the 16th of June. Oh, I thought I had that. Oh, I'm on July, that's why. Stupid. So here's the 16th of June in red. And the point I'm making here is I could have received a lot more money by selling the $22 calls against my position for out of the 16th. But it also means that there's a potential for this to, let's say that I'm going to draw a hypothetical line here. Let's say that silver does this, right? And it just tanks over the next couple weeks. By selling the short-term ones, even if it really started to go against me, I'm not letting it get too far away, and now I can, do damage control. But if I'm committed by this June 16th option, even though I collect more premium because I sold more time, I'm putting myself in a much bigger risk position because there's more time where it could get away from me. Actually, it has less shit. You're funny. All right, let me, anyway, I hope that made sense, but that's where I'm at today. Typically, Ganesh, if I am selling calls or I'm selling puts, I want 30 days or less. In this case with silver, I'm doing 5 days. really going 5 days out there. I'll get 1% for 5 days, regardless of what happens with silver. And in a perfect world, silver will just go sideways for the week, and then right around, let's say, $21.99. Great, I'll do it again next week, and just keep doing that 1% per week until I either get taken out or I need to do damage control on a bigger price decline. Now, if I'm buying directional, 90 days or more, simple, I need the benefit of time. And there's actually this nice curve that you can see where you see time decay, and time decay goes very slow until you get to like that last 30 days of an option. And then it's just like, it's like you're holding an ice cube on a 90-degree day. It disappears very quickly. So as a seller of options, 30 days or less. As a buyer, I'm looking at 90 days or more. Yeah, I mean, I typically don't do leaps. Like I think 120 days, maybe 150 days is kind of my max time frame for me. I don't like to tie things up and just sit and wait that long. I'm a little bit, I just don't like to move that long. No, Big Eb, I was thinking of doing a session on the ledger, but I'm going to find an alternative to it. I'm debating moving my Bitcoin to a paper wallet, which is what I talked about on the Friday show, but that's just the Bitcoin stuff. Right now, I'm keeping my Ethereum at Binance just because the interest is better, and I'm looking at potentially starting up an Ethereum validator node on my own. And if it works out, then I will share that information with you guys as well. But it's pointing up 32 for each validator node I want to run. So, 2 questions for you. First was that channel on crypto, Coin Bureau, that you mentioned for having good info about crypto. Yeah, he's pretty good. I like him. I think he's very objective in the way he looks at things. He analyzes things pretty good. So yeah, his name is Guy. He just moved. He's British. It's funny. Somebody was complaining on his YouTube channel that he talks with a British accent. It's like, really, people? Are we at that point? We're still complaining about people's accents. If someone gives you great content and they have an Australian accent, or you've got somebody who's Japanese and you're like, man, this content's great, but boy, his Japanese accent just killing me. Suck it up, Buttercup. This guy's doing a lot of work for free, so enjoy it. That was the first question. KF, what was your second one? If the U.S. government bans the exchanges in America to have connection with our bank accounts, what ways can we transfer money from crypto to our offshore exchanges like KuCoin or BitGet to U.S.? So you will always be able to move your crypto where you want. I don't think that Coinbase would be blacklisting and saying, oh, you can't move it from Coinbase to KuCoin. If you're talking about taking crypto that exists here and moving it off seas, there's no problem there. It's getting it into the U.S. ones and then converting that back into dollars. For now, that may be the challenge until we get a change of administration that's much more crypto friendly. Was it Robert Kennedy Jr.? Let me look it up real quick. There's so many damn Kennedys, I forget. But I think it was Robert Kennedy Jr. One sec. Making sure I'm right here. Yeah, Robert Kennedy Jr. gave a presentation at the Bitcoin conference. I really found that one interesting. It's nice to know that somebody is actually on the side of crypto that is on the Democrat side of things. Not that it has to be Democrat or Republican, but somebody that can challenge Biden that would be maybe a little younger, maybe a little more fresh ideas, and maybe more in touch with the way that the world functions right now. He gave that presentation at the Bitcoin conference and was very interesting, just talking about freedom and liberty and choice of monetary system and why there should be no punishment for crypto. It should actually be encouraged because it's new technology that keeps on thriving. So I think that change of administration is coming. I'm with you, Big Eb. I'm usually not a political activist. And again, I don't want to polarize anybody by saying, hey, vote Democrat or vote Republican. That's not my place. It's important you vote for who fits your interests and what you think is right for this country. And I will definitely be pushing a little more than I do normally by running through the different candidates. And I'll be saying, hey, guys, these ones are pro markets. These ones are pro crypto. And these ones are anti. And you may look at some of the people that you voted for in the past and go, man, this person's totally anti-crypto and they're against these 3 other issues. Why am I voting for them? Move on to something else. But I think you're going to have single platform voters this year in droves, and crypto is a very major, important topic. So I like him a lot as well, Alan. I'm not saying I'm voting for him. I'm not going to say that about anybody, but just listening to his open-mindedness and maybe lack of senility. Is that Coin Bureau YouTube channel? Yeah. Yeah, it's called Coin Bureau YouTube channel. You get there, you tell him Merlin sent you. I don't think he has any idea. Just tell him the TraderMerlin show sent you if you ever leave comments. But I would actually like to get him on the show and interview him. He's a really nice guy. He seems very, very intelligent. One thing I don't like is it's not like this. It's not live. There's nothing that he does that's live. It's all very well produced. He's reading teleprompters. You can see his eyes. That's reading the teleprompter. So, which is good, right? You don't have any of the ums and ands and mistakes I make all the time. But honestly, I just would personally rather watch someone that's doing it live. I'm testing out that mental capacity, not reading a script and being a teleprompter person. But unfortunately, he reads teleprompter 99.999% of the time, but it's great content for those of you who are interested in the crypto space. Yeah, exactly, Blue Diesel. Someone that still has their marbles. I don't remember. Are you in favor of CBDCs? Because I don't want to make government tracking every freaking thing. Yeah, Mike, it's a tough one. It really is. So I'm not in favor of CBDCs as by force. Meaning, I don't believe that you and I become mandatorily put into a CBDC position. Am I okay with a CBDC? Yes. I am fine with a central bank digital currency. What I'm okay with is I can have a digital currency and I can do all these different transactions that I want to with that. And if I choose, just like I think Mike here, I don't think he wants to be in this situation. Well, maybe you don't have to be part of CBDC. You can still either use physical currency or you have an alternative system that you can use, right? And I'm not saying that's Bitcoin, I'm not saying that's Ethereum, but an alternative system that you could be using to access the financial markets without being forced to use a CBDC. I think a CBDC on one hand brings in speed, efficiency, and ease of use. I mean, we won't even have a wallet anymore. It's awesome. Green Thoughts, we already talked about debt ceiling. We started that show off today with debt ceiling. So if you want to rewind, we talked a lot about debt ceiling, and I did a show last Thursday where I pretty much focused on the debt ceiling. But today we started today's show off, but I'm not going to rehash all that. But so, to me, the CBDC is great from that perspective. However, I agree with Mike. I don't, not that I have anything to hide, but it's really nobody's business to track every single piece of data that I do. And again, I mentioned the as a far-reaching example of a CBDC, what if somebody, like say, got a DUI? Now all of a sudden, anytime they go to the store, the government can go, if you can't buy any alcoholic beverages with the CBDC, that's your choice as a consumer. That's your choice as an American. To me, I do not think that should be done. Even though it probably is a good idea, right? I think you'd all agree if someone's gotten a DUI, okay, you can't buy alcohol for a year. Great. But who's to tell me that I have to do that? A CBDC will have that functionality. One thing I would like a CBDC for is all these welfare checks. So I used WIC, which is Women with Independent Children. These are little vouchers that people would get at grocery stores or women that are single moms, which are great. Got to help them out, get them food. When I worked in the grocery store, what happened was a lot of these women would sell it to people out front of the store. They'd sell these coupons at a discount. So let's say they had $50 worth of groceries. They'd sell them for $30. Those coupons would go to this person, and they would, take the $20 or $30 they collected and go buy alcohol with it. Well, make it that those vouchers can only be redeemed for those products. Great. Anyway, I'm not a big fan, Mike, of the tracking. It's gonna happen. There's just no fighting it. It's going to happen, even with DeSantis saying no CBDC in Florida. Federal law supersedes state. And if all of a sudden the federal government says we're not printing physical dollars anymore, so how are you going to do business, DeSantis? Again, that's not going to be for a period of years before they fully shut down currency. But I'm not a fan of the big brother watching, but it's coming, so accept it. Just figure out other networks, which is why I love digital assets and crypto. Let's see. There's a show called NFA with two other guys that are pretty solid. Okay. Has Zoom paid a dividend before? No idea. I don't think Zoom would have paid a dividend. Let's go ZM. If you go down here at the bottom, usually if they paid, no, it's never paid a dividend. So you can find things that'll pay dividends. So let's go forward. See it at the bottom on these charts, it's got a little D. D, that's dividend. So you'll be able to see that when it pays a dividend. Let's see. I meant transferring it to the United States and exchanging crypto to dollars. What other ways are available? That's the problem. There may not be any other ways available. And I think if you are concerned about that, at least in the short term, you need that money you might want to think about cashing out some crypto, because those on-ramps, those rails connecting you to the markets are getting choked out by our current administration. He's made it very clear. President Biden has made it very clear he's anti-crypto. He's like, I want to tax those. He said some real derogatory words. Like, you realize that people are paying taxes on crypto, Biden. I mean, that's the law. You got to pay your tax on it. So we're not like shiesty fraudsters trying to hide money here. I'm sure some are, but same thing with other marketplaces out there. So if you want to get your money out, probably want to think about doing that rather quickly. If not, KF, you go to some other countries where they are crypto friendly, and you could pull your money out that way and then convert it back to dollars as a fiat currency. But that's a pain in the butt process. Maybe it's an excuse for you just to go and find a different country to visit and pull out your cryptocurrency. If they can track you, the better they can control you. Yep, totally agree. It's called the coming one world government. I don't think, Ken, I don't think we'll ever get there. I think you'll always have an enemy. You'll always have one country that people hate. You got your Russias and your Chinas. Well, if you're in China, I hate the Americans. Well, I think you'll always have that. I don't see a one world, peace, kumbaya type of government. So I think we'll always have that and multiple currencies to choose from. Biden said stuff, crazy stuff. Yep, he totally did. With AMBP paying 1% dividend is a buy. Michael, I'm different. I don't care about company dividends. These people look at a dividend and go, oh, I'm making 3% that year. And then all of a sudden you're like, well, the stock dropped 50%. So enjoy your 3%. So to me, dividends are not the issue. Of course, I'm younger. I think if I was in my 70s, I would maybe build a portfolio where I was generating some income from dividends. But actually, I can't even say that. I would be still being more of an active trader. And if I want income streams, I'd be using options to get that. But let's just look at the price chart. I don't know. Let's see, AMPB. Oh, AMBP. I'm sorry. AMBP. And then I got to wrap things up. I got to go. I got stuff I got to take care of here today. This is metal packaging. All right. Well, you look at this price chart. And I think you brought this up before. We looked at it. It was not that great. You're looking at this huge rundown. We saw that little 39% slide. It's subsequently dropped even more than that. Grand scheme of things, it looks like crap. I apologize for sounding so crass, but this is garbage, right? Now, I don't know what they do. It says metal packaging, but either their business is extremely poorly run or they're hemorrhaging money, but for whatever reason, it's not looking good. I don't care what the dividend is. There's a reason they're probably paying a dividend, and they're trying to pay it to retain people, like to get you to buy their shares. Okay, you pay a 10-cent dividend, but what happens if this thing drops 40 cents in the next month? Okay, you made 10 cents, but you lost 40, you're a net 30-cent loser. That's the problem I have with dividends, Michael. It's definitely something that you should be looking for, but if I'm buying dividends, I'd much rather buy the stock of something that's moving up. For example, I was at Ford earlier. If I had my choice and I'm looking at dividends, I'd rather buy Ford. Ford right now is paying an 80-cent dividend on $11 stock. So it's actually way better percentage-wise, and it's a legit company, right? I don't know about that AMBP, right? Let's go AMBP. So they're paying a 10-cent dividend, and it's a $3.60 stock. So let's just see if we're basing those numbers as being equal, and they pay 10 cents, right? Let's multiply that by 8, and then that would give you a fair market value of what Ford should be trading at. So 3.6 times 8. That means Ford should be trading at $28.8, $28.80 to get you the same percentage rate of return as AMBP. And AMBP's chart looks absolutely horrible. Ford doesn't look great. It actually looks like a descending triangle, but at least it looks like it's stable. Wow, this is a monster descending triangle, everybody. This is really not the best chart either. You can look at Microsoft. Right, so Microsoft is paying dividends, but look, I'd much rather own this one because not only are you getting a 68-cent dividend, but you've also got a great uptrend. So you're gaining on the underlier, and you're getting the dividend. Makes Kansas. Yeah, I remember you talking about that. I get that, but the chart looks garbage. The chart looks absolutely terrible. So you're excited to get that dividend of 10 cents, but the price of this looks like it's going to go lower. Right, this one looks like it's going to go lower and lower and lower, and maybe it's the cost of the resources behind the cans and products they make is cutting into their profits. But if you're looking for a dividend play, I would, and this is just me. Actually, I think it's more than that. It's you said 11% dividend. It looks like they're paying a steady 10 cents, and it's a $3 item, so it's actually not. If it was 11%, oh yeah, it's what, 40 cents per year. Okay, yeah, 40 cents per year on a $4 stock. So there's your 11%. Anyway, not a fan. My money is on Microsoft. Your only concern there, Oliver, is when you look at Microsoft, how strong is this thing going to get? I mean, this is just ripping. I mean, from these lows back here, where is it, $220? Now you're at $320 in less than a year, right? You're at 5 months. This thing is up. Let me bring up the exact percentage for you guys, going back to just for the year. For the year, from the beginning of the year, you're up over 57, almost 57%. I do not know if Mexico is Krypton friendly. I know that. Oh man, I was gonna say something really funny, but I can't. My brain's so fried, I can't even remember. I was gonna go back to Superman and Krypton, and who are those? The three aliens that came down in the original Superman, Glog or Krog or some weird name. No, I don't know if they're Krypton friendly. Not sure. What do you think of Triple M? Thinking short to bounce off. Dude, the XLP still done. All right, I was supposed to get out of here. Oh well, I can't do it. I can't do an hour show. Andy, ask me that one tomorrow. I got to wrap up. I'm trying to do 30-minute shows now, but I keep going into questions, which I love. I love answering questions, but my time is valuable, and I got to end up here. Let's only wrap up the show here today. Sorry. I know you're dying to get to that Triple M question. Ask me tomorrow. I'll get to that Triple M one. As far as economic announcements for tomorrow, let me bring this up for you right here. And let's get off of just the United States. Let's go to all of them so I can wrap this up in an hour. We'll move all filters. So here's your announcement for tomorrow. I mentioned on Monday Morning Must Knows, which I produce for OTA. You guys can check that out on their YouTube channel. Flash manufacturing and services for France, Germany, the European Union, the British markets, as well as the United States. That's probably your biggest news for tomorrow. 6:45 in the morning Pacific, so 15 minutes into the trading day. And you also have new home sales and Richmond Manufacturing Index numbers. Remember that these manufacturing numbers have not looked so good. This will give people a good idea of what's happening around the United States with regards to manufacturing and the world tomorrow with those numbers there. All right. That's going to do it for me, guys. I'm going to wrap up before I get to 1 hour. I apologize. I see people asking questions, but I gotta get out of here under an hour, and I literally have under a minute left. So that's going to do it for today's show. I just talked to John Rowland. We're going to have him on next week, which is fun. I'm also going to be doing an interview with John Rowland. I'll be on the other side of the aisles talking about digital assets for barchart.com. That's probably going to be in a couple of weeks. I'll let you guys know more about that one. I'll let you know about my speaking engagements up in Las Vegas, and I'll work on getting some other guests in this program as well. So if you guys have comments, questions, feedback, let me know. You can email me. And some of you who sent in questions today that did not get them answered, you can email me at TraderMerlin@gmail.com, or the best way, just go down below this YouTube video, put your comments down there and say, hey, talk about 3M, or as Michael says, how about EGY on the show, and I will gladly do that. But I got to wrap up, guys. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed today's show. Hope you learned something. I will see you all tomorrow. Take care.